Hey guys, what's up? Dingo Crikey here with another figure review. This time we're going to be looking at Transformers Combiner Wars Arcee, which was one of 3 figures released in the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Combiner Hunters box set. Being an exclusive, this box set was not released at mass retail and was only available to those who attended San Diego Comic-Con and then in July of 2015 through HasbroToyShop.com for the price of $74.99. So despite the fact that these are characters who are rarely released in figure form and they're all relatively popular, it is a pretty hefty price for 3 Deluxe class figures, as most exclusive figures are a lot more expensive. However, these 3 figures also have the novelty of having unique color schemes and weapons, but for right now we'll just be looking at Arcee and determining whether the figure itself is good or bad, hence contributing or detracting from the set as a whole. So let's get started by pushing Arcee aside and taking a look at the box. So being the Combiner Hunters set is an exclusive, we obviously get an exclusive box. The front is mostly taken up by this box art. Some cool little things there like Devastator and the reflection of the sword. Nice detailing. The artwork obviously features all of the characters and some of the weapons that are released in the box set. Personally, it isn't my favorite style of IDW art, but it is pretty cool that they gave us this unique box. Then we have the Transformers logo on the side here, which is typical of the Combiner Wars line. On the side, same thing you get on a lot of the Voyager boxes. As you can see, we have the back of the box here, which may initially appear to be pretty bland, but if you take a closer look, they do have some planets detailed out here, and you can actually feel the Transformers logo as well as the planets. And I believe all of these planets are named in the instruction manual. There on the side, we have Combiner Wars logo as well. So the box is pretty cool looking from the outside, and there you can see the inside of the box. And in the background, there's a lot of the detailing that was brought in with the Age of Extinction toy line. We kind of have outline diagram things of the 3 characters released in this box set. Then we also see Devastator along with Mixmaster, some of their weapons in there. It's a design template they've used for a little while now, but it's one I don't really mind. Final thing as far as the box goes, we have box art of all 3 Combiner Hunters on the back. There you have Windblade, Chromia, and Arcee. Once again, not my favorite IDW artwork, but it does help this box be very dense with all sorts of cool details. So, let's pull the box aside. Let's get to the figure itself, beginning with her vehicle mode, as we have it here along with the accessories. Now, as for this massive sword, which is called the Combiner Slayer, as you can probably deduce by its massive size, it doesn't have any functions or storage in this mode, so we'll pull that aside and be looking at it later. Now for these accessories, which I guess are supposed to be both swords and guns, they have the same exact function in this mode, which they have on the original figure, and that is just to take this little peg here and push it into this hole on the side of the car. And it might just be my figure in particular, but I really can't get the weapon to peg into the side so well. As you can see, it just keeps popping out there. But it isn't terribly unfortunate because personally I don't think they really look good in this mode. With the way they're positioned, they really couldn't be a weapon of any sort, hence it kind of looks like forced storage. So we'll just pull those accessories aside and look at the vehicle itself. So here we have the vehicle mode by itself, and let's bring it up closer for a 360 view. As you can see, the colors are primarily black with lots of paint applications of a bright pink color all throughout. We also have some silver right about here, some transparent blue on the front glass piece, and some other little blue details throughout, such as on the front above what would be, I guess, the headlights. So the paint applications are definitely done really nicely, as a lot of them are done in sort of a streak-like fashion. It definitely gives a lot of character to this vehicle mode. And the colors alone are really cool to see. Just the black and pink put together isn't something we really get to see a whole lot. As far as the overall look to the vehicle mode, one of the only things I don't really like is this front piece here. And at first I was a big fan of it, but the more I look at it, it just looks like there's a little bit too much detail all crowded together in comparison to the rest of the vehicle mode, which has it spread apart pretty well, but that might be nitpicking. As far as features that Arcee has in car mode, there's not a whole lot to speak of. Obviously you can connect those accessories, as was shown earlier, though it doesn't look too well. And it also is a rolling feature. And surprisingly this works pretty well, because initially you look at the bottom and it does seem like the kibble is a little bit close to the bottom of the wheels, but it does work out pretty good. So here we have Combiner Hunter's Arcee compared to the original Arcee figure from the Generations Thrilling 30 line, and despite the fact that they look very different, they actually have many of the same colors, though the shades are a little bit different. It does help them look as though they are the same character, with still looking very different. As you can see, the paint placement is very different in these two, especially in details up here, on the front, even on the sides of the vehicle. And here we have the Combiner Hunter trio, all of them unique looking, but I do feel they look pretty good as a team. They have some colors that overlap, which is definitely nice, and especially these two with the more sleek looks to their vehicle modes look really cool together. And here we have Arcee with the original Chromia and Windblade figures. And here's one more size comparison, showing Arcee with two Deluxe class figures from the Combiner Wars line. Obviously, being that Arcee was originally released in Generations Thrilling 30, you can see her aesthetics are a lot smaller than the other two, but she does still look pretty good with the new Deluxe class figures. With that aside, let's take a look at the transformation. The first thing you're going to want to do here is just take this back piece and pop it out of these hinges. Just loosen it up, lift it up just like that. And this piece at the very end is on a hinge. Just pop it out of place and tuck it away just like that. Now you should have the legs freed up for the rest of the transformation. Pop them out of place like so, and flip them downward. Now the upper parts of the leg are on a double hinge joint. Just push them inward, just like that. As for the feet, they're locked in there pretty nicely, so you just use a little bit of force and you can get them out. Now as far as the arms go, in the original figure they would be locked in place by a pistol blaster which attaches right here. But as you can see, this figure does not come with the pistol blaster, so loosening the arms is no problem. You can just pull them down like that. Next you want to do is take this piece here, which will become part of her lower body, and flip it up. Now you want to take hold of this piece, which will become her body, along with this, and just pull a little bit till you get it free. There you can see you have the body and the head. Now what we do is we take this backpack piece and just push it backwards like that. Get the arms situated for robot mode. Next you just take the body piece. This piece will go right around what connects to the shoulders. Take the body, push it in right there, and there you have Combiner Hunter's Arcee in robot mode. And let's bring her up close for a better look. As you can see, this figure has some really nice detailing, silver and pink paint apps all throughout, but not too much that it becomes overbearing in appearance. They really did a nice job. For those who have the Thrilling 30 Arcee figure, there's really nothing that different except for paint placement. All the details are the same. One of the significant things with this figure, of course, which gives it a very unique appearance, is the head sculpt. In particular, having the Autobot symbol underneath the eye there, it gives a really nice touch, along with the sort of pink eyeliner. All gives a very unique look, and I like the look, though I'm sure some people might find it kind of awkward looking. And let's have a brief 360. As you can see, the colors are pretty much the same, except for on the face and on the hands having some white. And it's nice that they put it in those two different places, as it helps complement rather than it just being on the hands, which may look kind of random. In the back, the colors are obviously very reminiscent of the vehicle mode, as you have that backpack right there. But other than that, silver, bright pink color, and black, and transparent blue. As far as articulation goes, there's a pretty nice range in this figure. There is some movement in the feet, which may seem only essential for the transformation, but can help with posing in robot mode. Also, the knees can go farther back than a lot of other figures, so that's definitely really nice. The upper knees, you can also do a full 360. Then move the arms aside to show the upper leg articulation. You do have a pretty good range of motion here, however it is definitely prohibited by the backpack a little bit. You can't get the legs too far outward if you were to peg them out, but yeah, that's definitely going to start to look kind of weird. As far as the upper arms, also a very good range of motion. They have this ball joint up here, a little bit prohibited by the backpack. Then if you hold this ball joint in place, you can also see the upper arm will spin. No wrist swivel, unfortunately. And we have some bending at the elbows. Once again, like the knee, really nice range. Can't go backwards, but that's not too much of a problem. No wrist swivel, but she makes up for it with a lot of other articulation. As far as the head goes, it's on a ball joint, so as you can see, a lot of articulation there. As far as articulation goes, this figure has a full range of poses, really only prohibited by the backpack. As far as gimmicks and accessories, the figure doesn't come with any gimmicks such as spring-loaded features. However, it does have quite a few accessories, the first of which being these gun blade type things. Not really sure what they're supposed to be, but these are of course the same exact weapons that came with the original version of the figure. Some nice detailing you have in there. Of course it's translucent blue, but yep, the exact same thing we had on Thrilling 30 Arcee. And they attach the same way as well, but I will demonstrate it here. So, there are two ways you can attach this weapon, one of which is just taking this little peg here, like we did earlier, and this time you're pegging it into the arms. And once again, I don't know if it's my weapon or the arm of the Arcee figure, but I do have a little bit of a problem getting them in there. But there you go. So this is my preferred method of attachment for these weapons. However, I'm still not a big fan of it. I just think they're kind of weird looking. They feel a little bit clunky on the arms, and they don't exactly look like they fit with the rest of the figure. Not really sure if they're supposed to be blades or like arm blasters, which is kind of a problem when you don't really know what the weapon is supposed to be. The next function is certainly supposed to be swords, and I'll show off how those attach. So all you do is take this handle piece, and this could be a little bit tricky. You just plug it into the hand, and as you can see, these are remolded hands. I do think that only a few versions of the original Arcee figure had these open hands, so plugging in these weapons is a little bit different. Basically, you just gotta angle it, and yeah, there you go. And same thing for the other hand. Just, you know, if you're gonna do that, it isn't gonna really work. Just gotta get it in at an angle. So, there you go. They don't look bad as the swords, but I do feel as though the way she holds them is a little bit awkward looking. And once again, I kind of wish they would have just went with a gun or a sword, because it's kind of hard to tell what these are supposed to be. Now, unfortunately, this version of Arcee does not come with the dual pistol blasters, which in my opinion were the better weapons from the original figure. However, I have them here, so I figured I would show how they fit into the hands, just because I think they work a lot better with this open and remolded hand this Arcee has. Once again, it's kind of an angling thing, but you just fit them into place, and she can't hold them like exactly well. You can see it's a little bit crooked, but I feel like aesthetically it does look a lot better than it did with the original figure. So here you can see how both versions of the figure hold their pistol blasters, and obviously this one does look a lot more believable, where she can't really even reach the trigger with this one. So it's definitely a shame they took away her blasters for the Combiner Hunters version, in my opinion. So the situation with the other weapons is a little bit disappointing, but I believe it is made up for with the Combiner Slayer. And this is, of course, a pretty impressive looking weapon. And I'll try to give you guys a full view here. I had thought this weapon was an original mold. Its original use was on Optimus Prime, released in the Beast Hunters line. He carried a big silver sword, which was this mold. But this color scheme definitely gives it a whole new character. The pink and the black look really nice together, and obviously mesh with the figure very nicely. Something you can see here is not only the colors are cool, but the paint they used is also really nice. It's kind of a sparkly pink and black. Speaking on the design itself, it's not a conventional sword where it's pointed at the end. Instead, it looks as though it's made for specifically slicing things, which makes sense, with the whole combiner theme, possibly, cutting all of the limbs off of the combiners. So I feel as though not only it fits the theme well, but it just has a very cool shape and design to it. As you can see here, the blade is a good deal taller than Arcee. So here I'm going to show how it attaches. Pretty simple feature. As these hands were remolded for the sword, all you do is take it, and the hand goes really nicely around the sword, leaving some wiggle room, but it holds in there pretty securely, so that's pretty cool. And I'll bring the camera. And as you can see, the functioning with this weapon is a little bit difficult, as it has the tendency to fall down. However, it can hold up a little bit better than you would expect, as you can see there, but as you start to mess with it more, it may stay in place or it may just fall down like that. It seems like if you keep her arm up, it will stay pretty good, but as you start lowering her arm, it definitely starts to fall, and sometimes it can fall out of her hand altogether. Now you can make her hold the sword with two hands, and it does look pretty cool if you can get it to work right. However, her arms really aren't long enough that you can do a whole lot of posing with it, but you can get a few. Preferably, I think the sword works best in display purposes, just kind of like going over her shoulder like that. It looks pretty cool. But overall, I do think this robot mode is really cool. Speaking of the mold itself, it has some really nice articulation. It finally gives us an accurate rendition of Arcee's G1 counterpart, with being modernized appropriately. Altogether, it's a nice design, has a lot of good posability, is a unique one as well, and despite having such unique aesthetics, such as being much more skinny than a lot of your regular Transformers figures, it functions pretty well in things such as posability, which is really nice. So let's get into some size comparisons. And here we have Arcee compared with a combined form and with one of the normal Deluxe class Combiner Wars figures. And here's a comparison of Arcee with Generations Rat Trap, and Optimus is here just for scale reference since it is such a popular figure. And here we have a comparison of Arcee with the two other figures from the set, Chromia and Windblade. And here is one final comparison showing all of the weapons, in which Arcee's is definitely my personal favorite. And finally, let's get the figure back into vehicle mode. So I'll bring this close up. Now, an easy way to begin this transformation is to just take this little back piece and flip it out, and it should click nicely into place. Now we want to mess with the rest of the backpack, and this is probably the trickiest part of the transformation, just because all of this stuff is connected, and there's a lot of different stuff going on that may not be initially visible. So the first thing we want to do is just take Arcee's head and pop out that little pedestal there. And then we also want to take this body piece, kind of get your fingernail in there, and loosen it up just like that. Now, as we notice, These over-the-shoulder pieces that are connected to the backpack are free, so the backpack can flip up. With the backpack flipped up, we can then proceed to flip this piece backward along with Arcee's head, just using a little pressure, and there you have it. You want to just take this and push it in and get a nice clicking sound. Now make sure Arcee's head is pushed in, and take this piece that was the lower torso and push it down like that. And you have the hardest part of the transformation done. Now what you want to do is just take these arms, push them in. Next thing you want to do is pull these legs out of place on these double hinge joints, and you'll have them out like that. Flip the feet all the way back. Now you just take the legs and flip them up, and once again it's another thing where you kind of got to wait till you get the click. They lock nicely into place there. Same thing with the other one. Locks into place very securely. Now you just take this back piece, and as you can see there are these wee little pegs here, and you just want to make sure those go under these pieces, like so. Both sides of the vehicle. And there you have Arcee in vehicle mode. So for my final thoughts, this figure has a lot of things going for it. While I wouldn't say the mold is exceptional, it is mainly solid in both robot and vehicle mode, and it is definitely a unique one. And while not all of the accessories are great, the giant sword is definitely very cool, though its functioning does have some issues. Now, would I recommend buying the figure, as obviously the price tag is pretty hefty? Well, looking at this figure as part of the set, it definitely contributes to making it a very cool set. If you're just a general collector, you definitely don't need this set. However, if you are planning on only getting a few exclusives, this is one I may recommend due to the fact that we don't get female Transformers such as this, and I do believe these three characters play the Combiner Hunter roles in the comic books, so it is something unique in that regard as well. If you do have some extra money with you, or you regularly fork money out for these kind of things, this is a set I would personally recommend. If you're looking for over-the-top remolding and posability in your exclusives, you're not going to get that. For me, I'm very happy with this figure in particular, and the set. I think they're all good molds, and I like the color schemes. But if your standards for exclusive, more pricey stuff are super high, or you don't really have the money, I wouldn't say this is a must-buy. So those are just my thoughts on it. You guys can leave yours in the comment section below. What do you think of this figure, or the box set in whole, or the recent exclusives we've gotten, such as this set and the exclusive Devastator set? Also, let me know what you thought of this review altogether. Too long, too short? Was there something that you think should have been included, or was there something I might have spent a little bit too much time on? Let me know in the comment section below. And you could let me know if you have any recommendations for future figure reviews. And check out my other reviews if you're interested, along with my Transformers news and commentary videos. If you are interested in regular news on Transformers buys, or just keeping up with me, you can follow me on Twitter as well for more regular updates. And that's all I have to say for this one. Stay tuned for more Transformers news and commentary and figure reviews. Have a good one, guys. I'll see you soon.